We'll start on your left, Jeff. We'll get you the microphone.
Hey, Jeff. Coming into Seattle now, what's the feel around the team? How was it getting in yesterday and when you guys got to the ballpark today?
Yeah, pretty much the same every day. It's one of the things I love about this team. We take every challenge for what it is, which is, its own thing. We don't drag last night or think about, what's going to happen in the future. We stay in the now and go out and put our best foot forward.
Yeah, we'll go to Mike in the second row on Jeff's left.
Hey, Jeff, we've heard stories about drawing on like George's experience of being in a World Series MVP and in the playoffs all the time. 2 years ago, you were on a team that was up 2-0 in the NLCS and didn't win it. Are there any sort of any way you can apply that to the situation to talk to the group about maybe, this isn't such an insurmountable disadvantage?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, you got to win 4. We're going to go out tomorrow night and try to get one back, and all we can do is take it one game at a time. So, I remember being on the other end of that a couple of years ago, and the series is not over until it's over. So we just got to go out and play our game and focus on the now and execute our game plan, and we'll be in a pretty good spot.
What do you think, from your vantage point in the bullpen, has been the biggest thing that has prevented you guys from playing your game in the first 2?
I've said it since the beginning. I mean, it's going to come down to how well you can execute your game plan. There's not going to be any secrets. There's not going to be any, new pitches you're bringing out or anything like that. Everybody knows who you are at this point in the year, and it's going to come down to how well you can execute. I haven't gone back and looked, but I would imagine that some of the pitches we've been hurt on are pitches that could have been executed better, or potentially, a different pitch and a difference in the same count or something like that. But we got to go out and just be us and execute, the pitches that are being called, and if we do that, we'll be in a great spot.
Other questions for Jeff? Shai?
Jeff, when you get to the postseason, there's a finite amount of games in a way that's different from the regular season, where there's always another tomorrow and this is a small sample, but everything means so much more. Just mentally, what is that dynamic like, shifting from the regular season where there's runway versus to now when it's going to expire?
Yeah, it's different. Obviously, it feels a little bit more like your backs are against the wall, with there being kind of like a finish line in sight. But we like I said, we don't look ahead. We don't look behind. We stay right here where we're at, and we understand what the task is and what the challenge is in front of us, and it just is what it is. It's black and white. You got to go out. You got to play good baseball. You got to play clean baseball. You can't beat yourself, and the other team is here for a reason too. It's one of the best 4 teams left. So, it's not going to be a cakewalk. It never was going to be a cakewalk, and we got to go out and play good baseball.
What does that dynamic do to maybe the emotional swings within a game? Do you feel the emotions rise, the highs are higher and lows are lower in a postseason game versus a regular season game?
I think our guys do a great job of not letting it get that way. I think we stay pretty even keel. I think the crowd and stuff like that does that for us. We don't add any, extra on top of the atmosphere and the intensity that it already is in a playoff game. So I think our guys do a great job of just kind of going with the flow and staying in the game and not getting too high or too low.
We'll go to Hazel.
Jeff, this crowd will be as loud, if not more so, than Rogers Center. As a visiting team, can you guys also draw from the energy of the ballpark as well and maybe use that to your advantage?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the atmosphere of the ballpark is something that could be used by both sides. It's not necessarily, the home or the away team that gets the advantage in that. It's whoever's going to be able to kind of block that out better. I feel like the noise and the loudness can definitely be a negative if you allow it to kind of become that. But if you are able to stay focused on the task at hand and just take it pitch by pitch and stay kind of in your own head, then that stuff won't bother you.
And getting back to 2023, was there anything in particular that the Diamondbacks did that you recall kind of allowed them to kind of chip away at the Phillies during that series?
Yeah, they executed their game plan. Like I've been saying, they totally just zeroed out our offense at that time. And we were chasing at an unbelievable rate, and they used that to their advantage, and they didn't throw us any strikes, and they won those games, and they did what they had to do to get to the World Series. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying about the executing of your game plan. Like all these analytical numbers and all this stuff that they put in front of you nowadays, like that, those numbers are what they are for a reason. That like if you can execute your game plan and use those numbers to your advantage, you're going to have success. And I think that's exactly what they did.
On your right, we'll go to David.
Hey, Jeff. Louis carried a heavy load for you guys out of the bullpen this postseason. He's pitched in all 5 games. He's had some high highs and he's had some tough moments as well. What, if any, message do you say to him after a game like yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing that you can do is be good at turning the page, and kind of focusing on the next task. Louis got a great arm and great stuff, and all that has stayed consistent through the time that he's been here. And I think if anything, I would say that let's just really focus on making sure that we're taking care of our pitches in certain counts and to certain guys. If you're throwing breaking balls to good breaking ball hitters, we're taking care of those locations. And the same thing with the fastball. You're not grooving fastballs to a good fastball hitter and just kind of, giving him that. Like I said, these guys are here for a reason. They've played their way to this point just like we have. And, we know exactly what they are as an offense, and we need to go out and use that against them.
Third row on your left, Jeff.
Jeff, what is it like trying to contain the Mariners' run game? Because they can be very aggressive. Even some of their guys who aren't necessarily the fastest guys tend to be pretty efficient stealing bases.
Yeah, I think it's paying a little bit more attention to the details of it. Making sure we're mixing our looks, mixing our times, that kind of thing. We know the tendencies. We have all the information. It's just about going out and doing it. And if we do that, then we're going to be great, and we're going to have a lot of success.
Go to the second row with Mike.
Jeff, what do you notice about the players post games in the clubhouse? It feels like this has always been sort of a matter-of-fact group, and they don't get too down or too up. And when you guys lost 6 of 7 there the last week and a half of the season, it seemed pretty steady. What are you seeing now, and is there anything you're looking for, too, in a situation like this that you would want to talk people out of or away from?
Yeah, I think, I mean, the first thing I would say is you have to respect your opponent. Like I said, they're here for a reason. They've played their way to this point, just like we have. So you have to go out and treat them, like they're one of the best 4 teams left in the league, because they're doing that to you as well. And I think, there's no room to take anybody lightly this time of year. So I think our guys, when it comes to, us kind of losing a couple games in a row and how the mood is in the clubhouse, our guys are very consistent when it comes to that. We show up at the same time every day. The guys are ready to do their programs, their plans, their routines, and those things don't really sway one way or another. We're going to be prepared for the next game, and I think our offense and our bullpen are going to feel, what has kind of happened already to this point, and make the adjustments that are necessary, and we're going to be good.
And were you surprised at all, on a totally different note, were you surprised that Seattle was able to play so well in Toronto, given what they had gone through with the 15 innings and the tough travel and cross-country flights and all of that?
Not surprised. I mean, I think when teams are kind of up against it like that, where they've had, some things that they can't control kind of happen, and affects their arrival time and stuff and all that, it affects their sleep. You do see teams rise to the occasion when things start to go against them, especially good teams, and these are all good teams. So not surprising. I just think we need to do a better job of capitalizing.
Other questions? Shy?
Jeff, so many guys in that clubhouse have talked about the bond between you guys and the way that it's maybe been a bit unique within their careers. What are some of the things that you've sensed that has maybe differentiated this group from other teams you've been on and have contributed to that bond?
Well, I think the way that our roster is constructed, we have, our quote unquote big money guys are the leaders of the team, and they are the kind of the foundational pieces of why we're a tight knit group. Our clubhouse is very intertwined, not cliquey at all. I've been in clubhouses that are cliquey, and it's not a great recipe to win baseball games. We do everything together. Off nights, even when everybody's trying to stay away from baseball, we're all going out and getting dinner together. The teams like this one are the ones where you don't really want the season to end, because these are the guys that you've literally spent all your time with for the duration of the season. And I mean, a lot of guys on this team that I'll keep in touch with for the rest of my life, no matter what goes on from this point on. And I attribute that all to the way Ross and Mark and everybody kind of built this team. They built guys with they built it with high character guys, and also guys that love to win and want to win, and kind of have those chips on their shoulders and want to get over that hump.
When does that bond between you guys factor into how things play out on the field, or in what ways does it factor into how things play out on the field?
I think it factors in when your backs are up against the wall, and there's kind of there's only one way out, and that's to start throwing punches. And I think that's exactly the type of group that we have in the clubhouse. So I'm looking forward to the way that we respond.
Other questions for Jeff? Yeah, Mike.
Just off of that, Schneid's told us yesterday he thinks that whenever the season comes to an end, a bunch of guys are just going to rent an Airbnb and hang out for a couple of weeks. Yeah. I'm not asking you to confirm whether that'll happen or not, but is that the kind of, when you say we don't want this season to end, is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
Yeah, I just think we all enjoy being around each other so much, not only from a baseball standpoint, but from a human standpoint as well. We have a lot of really good people when it comes down to it, and I think that's why we see ourselves as more than just teammates. We're legitimately friends, and that kind of translates outside of baseball as well, and that's a great thing. When you care about a group of people on like a deeper level than just work, it makes it easier to come to work and fight for the guy that's next to you, and that's why I'm excited about the rest of the series.
Anything else for Jeff? All right, Jeff, thanks so much for making the time. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Between approximately 2:15 and 3, we'll have Dan Wilson, Brian Wu, and John Schneider consecutively. So approximately 2:15 for Dan Wilson, followed by Brian Wu and John Schneider.
Open in 45 seconds.
Hey, Paul. Hey. No. Yes. No, I appreciate it. Yes. Yeah, Julie was on the box runner, and yeah, and I go right up front.
Dan, through these first 2 games of the ALCS, the bullpen has really just stepped up. Just how impressed have you been by the performance of the relievers, and how ecstatic are you that you're going into these 3 home games with pretty much all of them on decent rest?
Yeah, this has been down the stretch, especially has been a big strength of ours has been the bullpen, and I think the bullpen and actually the starters work very well together, and the way it has worked out has gone fairly smoothly, and you get, like we've said before, you trust all of our guys, and whenever you give them the ball, they're going to do the job, and yesterday was no exception. A couple of guys giving us a couple of innings was huge, and allowing the offense to kind of break it open a little bit, and so it was a good bullpen series so far, and looking for that to continue as we go forward.
Questions for Dan in the third row on your left.
Dan, in a series and a half now, you've seen basically all your pitchers build up that postseason experience. How have you seen that kind of, get more relaxed on the mound, or be able to understand the moment a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the experience of it's huge, and we've talked about that all along. Just getting your feet wet, getting a chance to get out there and get that first one under your belt, and it does take a minute. And I think the way we've seen our guys adjust to it has been great. This is a group that's tight. The whole pitching staff together is tight. They share information. They talk about it. They let each other know what it's like, and so they're a little bit more prepared too. So, it's good knowing that these guys have had a little bit of experience now under their belt, and they're ready to go.
We'll stay over there on your left.
Dan, from your standpoint here, to be back in Seattle ahead 2-0, I mean, what is the word or the feeling I think that, embodies the team right now when you think about being in this position to come back home and have potentially 3 in front of you here?
Yeah, obviously it's a very advantageous position. We're excited about that, but there's work to do here, and I think the focus is tomorrow night. That's where our focus goes, and that's kind of how we've done this, all along. Is just that we're taking it one day at a time. It sounds very cliche, but you take it one step at a time, and tomorrow night we're looking forward to getting back out there, taking in the atmosphere here at T-Mobile. We know it's going to be an awesome atmosphere here for baseball. So that's where our focus lies. We get back to work. I think, as we've talked about the pitching, it's been so solid, and offensively able to do some great things. So both sides of the ball, we just need to continue to keep doing that, and I think that's the focus going forward.
Up front on your left, Dan.
Kind of similar. I was going to similar question, but I'll try to go a little deeper. Just the importance of the details. You've talked about that from day one. Just important of the details, each pitch, each at bat.
Yeah, no doubt. I think we've seen, we talk about the postseason where little things make big differences. We've seen that in a lot of these postseason games, not just our games, but in all the games. And so you focus on the details. You know that each pitch has, magnified significance. You know that each out makes a big difference. Each at bat can be huge. So I think we've talked about it with our offense that you start stacking those tough at bats back to back, and over time you start to wear down pitchers, and that's when we're at our best. So yes, each pitch, each at bat. Those are all very big things here in the postseason, and our guys know that, and that's why our focus continues to be, tomorrow night, and we'll get back out on the field and get started again.
Right up front, Dan.
Kind of continuing on that train of thought of just the subtle differences, ALDS, you guys came back home. It was win or go home. You knew the situation. This situation, a little bit different, have an opportunity to close it out. Just what is the kind of difference or variation in pressure compared to having that lead with an opportunity to close it out at home compared to, win or go home?
Again, I think we take the same mindset. We go out and we play good baseball tomorrow night. That's our focus, and I think that's where we're at as a team, and that's what our goal is to come out tomorrow and continue to do the things we've been doing, and that's the hope, and that's what our preparation will be geared towards, and we'll do the things that we've been doing on the mound, preparation wise. We'll be doing the things offensively that we've been doing preparation wise, and we'll be ready to play at game time.
Second row, you left, Dan.
Dan Bryan's going to be up here in a little bit, and I'm just wondering A, if there's any updates with him, and B, just how vital he is to you guys going forward, even on a limited pitch count.
Yeah, I think all reports have been good as we had expected, and continues to make his progression. Obviously the live ABs the other day was a big step for him. He felt pretty good yesterday. I think he's going to get out and throw again a little bit today. Getting him back, one of the guys that has really led this staff this year, obviously will be huge for us. And whatever that looks like as we get into the later part of this series. But getting him back and getting him healthy is the key, and he's getting close.
And the third row on your left.
The Blue Jays are a team that don't strike out, but then your pitching staff dominates the zone, right? So this has set up this really interesting kind of chess match. The Blue Jays hitters have said they don't mind going down 0-1 because they'd rather, and not swing at a pitcher's pitch early in the count, because they'd rather be 0-1 than 0 for 1. So how important is executing that first pitch for your pitching staff? How pleased have you been with how that's gone?
Yeah, I think, that is what we talk about a lot as an organization, is winning that 0-0 pitch. And, the quality of that pitch is certainly important. But getting strike one is big. And we've talked about controlling the count and how different it is when you're ahead in the count. And I think, with the hope being that even if it's a team that doesn't strike out as much, you're hoping to get weaker contact. When you're ahead in the count, you're going to get weaker contact. So I think our guys have done an outstanding job of getting ahead and doing that. And that's what we will continue to prepare for and keep doing as we go along in the series.
Second row up front, Dan.
Dan, having that advantageous position, it feels like maybe your group of guys, more than most, understand that situation, that there's a good group over there, that they're not going to take it lightly, they're going to keep grinding and all that. What is it about your guys that, they're still going to be locked, and they're not going to let this 2-0 lead kind of get ahead of itself or anything like that?
Yeah, I think that's who these guys are. We talk a lot about Cal and the season he's had, not getting wrapped up in it and keeping his humility about him as he's gone through it, and has allowed him to continue and be consistent. I think that's a big part of it with a lot of our guys. We understand how fickle this game can be, and so each night is important, each detail is important, that's why I think we go about it very consistently. We prepare the same, and I think that they'll, again, like I said, they'll be ready tomorrow night to go.
On the third row on your left, Dan.
Dan, we saw how the matchups between the hitters and the relievers kind of evolved in the ALDS, which with every single outing and every single game. How much can hitters learn about relievers in a series length? And then with that being said, how big is it that you get through the first two games only throwing each reliever once?
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I think it does make a big difference. I think obviously seeing guys more and more does help you get a better picture of what they're going to do. You can look at a guy on paper and understand on paper what he's going to do and what the ball might do, but then seeing it in the box is a different story. So I think as hitters, yes, that's great. And I think all hitters on all teams will share information. That's how you learn and you get prepared for your at-bat. So that's all been going on and as normal. But it is good to get in the box and actually see that, get an at bat, and get a feel for what the ball's actually doing, so yes, I think it's great that we've been able to only have a couple guys go out there on a couple outings, hopefully that helps us as we go forward.
A couple last ones will stay in the same row.
What makes Josh Naylor so good at that high and away pitch? It's a pitch that's a foot outside. You don't expect him to do damage on it. And then we saw it against Skubal with the double. We saw it in the series with the Blue Jays. What is it about his swing? How does he get to that?
He's just, number one, as I've said, he's smart and headsy, and he can, maybe think along sometimes with pitchers. But I also think, he's got the ability, his swing has adjustability to it. And when he sees a pitch up in the zone, he's able to stay really short and get on top of it. And that's the key. You're right, that the double off of Skubal was huge, to be able to go up there off of the velo that he was throwing and to be able to hit that to left field like that, that really requires you to get on top of the ball, and we've seen him do it over and over again, and that's just because his swing is so adjustable.
Anything else for Dan before we let him go? All right, Dan, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Brian will be down in a few minutes.
You don't call me out to my face or not?
What's that?
You don't call me out to my face or not?
What do you mean?
I'm like, you asked, I was going to ask something similar, so I guess I'm going to try and go a little deeper with this question. that shit had me rolling.
No way, you know we ain't cool. I don't know why you're speaking to me.
Come on, that was funny as hell. I know you didn't mean a single thing by it, and I heard like, oh, that's so fucking funny.
You know,
You're trying to shoot like us.
that's just I mean, as soon as he said you laughed, got this. He says, you are my big one.
Yeah. Oh, I've been there so many times. Yeah, you're like, how do I get the conversation going? And Tara understood the assignment. We were just rolling. You guys were all following the line of questioning. It was beautiful.
Yeah, you know, some questions. Yeah, whatever. That's all I need to know.
Okay, do you want me to like type shit to his mouth shut or something?
Bro, that just, that man is so diligent.
I'm chit-chatting. I think that's a good question. I think I'll ask Brian, how does it feel to play baseball? Now, I was thinking about this on my drive over. I was like, I'm going to ask him what his favorite restaurant in St. Louis Obispo is. That's going to be my question.
You can ask McDonald's on this.
What's that?
You can ask McDonald's on this.
Yeah. Yeah. Firestone? Yeah. I was going to ask him. Exactly. I was going to say.
It's such a slow thing. Like that's what
It
all the
is.
college
Everyone,
kids is
they just
slow.
get the tri-tip and get the hammer. Yeah. Beer's good.
Yeah. What's the Woodstock pizza?
Yeah,
Is
what's
that
it?
slow?
Yeah, that's as far north as it goes.
Just for your planning purposes, Brian's running a little bit late, so Schneider will be at 2:45 and Brian will be at 3 now.
What's that? You go to the bathroom. I'm here. I'll leave it to you, boss.
I feel like you're my guy.
Start up.
Cheers.
Yeah, there we go. Up front to your left.
John, your team has had success in this ballpark in the past. You know, fans travel well here. Just what are your expectations for these next 2, potentially 3 games?
You know, I think that it's tough to look back, a while ago, right? Kind of 2 different teams at 2 different times, but I've said it all along, man. I like our chances really any day, anywhere against anyone. I think the off day was good for us today to kind of reset, and I think the guys are going to come out knowing exactly what they have to do. Not that we did in the first 2 games, but it's a 7-game series, and I think they're excited to play here tomorrow.
Go to the second row on your left, John.
Schneider, Jeff talked about in here earlier a lot about this group and about them as people. Just from your perspective, how are they right now, and what has it been like both getting here last night and then coming in today?
Late night, but they're good. It's really, really impressive how they kind of just turned the page to the next day. Not thinking about game 1 or game 2, not thinking about the flight, thinking about what they needed to do today, and they'll be ready to do it tomorrow. I know it sounds like a broken record and it sounds really cliche, but I think that they do a really good job of living in the present moment. We talk about it a lot, and they've had to do it a lot. So I think where they are right now is exactly where they've been, after a couple tough losses and a long travel day.
Is that living in the moment, staying present, something that they've developed over the course of the year, or do you guys just have a lot of guys on your roster that naturally have that kind of personality?
I think a little bit of both. Just going back to earlier in the year, just myself, staff, and players talking about what's important right now. Like what is important now to win. And when you kind of live that out, it becomes part of your day, it becomes part of your process. So it helps that we have guys that can say, let's turn the page, but we talk about it pretty regularly, and when the guys talk about it pretty regularly, it's kind of who you become.
Go to David in the third row, and then we'll go down the line.
Hey, John, you faced Kirby twice last year, no times this year. What kind of challenge does he present?
Similar to all their pitchers, he's got good stuff, good fastball, can locate it up and down. It's a staff that kind of, runs into each other in terms of their profile, in terms of their stuff. So he's going to come after you. I think that looking at these first 2 series, I think they've done a good job of being in the zone, but kind of in safe areas. When you look at ball and play quality, it hasn't been exactly where we wanted to, so I think we just have to be really deliberate and aware of that with him tomorrow and the rest of the series.
And connected to Kirby, Tony's got the most career ABs in that clubhouse against him. What's his status with his back?
Feeling better today. He was available to hit yesterday, so anticipating him being good to go tomorrow. Check in with him later tonight and tomorrow morning, but I think it was kind of one of those things where his back kind of locked up in the morning. Unfortunate, but I think he should be all right.
Mike?
Would this be one of those days that you mentioned earlier that George Springer might be playing the outfield? Would Tony be a DH for you, possibly?
I think just see how he feels really in the morning, and do what we think is best for both of them. So, make that call tomorrow morning.
I was just talking to DeMarlo, and he said he was looking when he's looking at the players and when he's looking around in the clubhouse, he's looking for normalcy, and for the most part, he's seeing it. Is that what you're, or is there anything in particular that you're looking for and hoping to see?
Basically the same thing. We talk about that a lot as a staff, where you're always taking the pulse of your team, whether it's good times or bad times. And you look for them to kind of just do the same thing. When you're playing every day, you want to do the same thing every day. Are there ways to adjust? Yeah, I think so. But that's exactly what I'm looking for. You're looking, even going, getting on the bird last night, you're looking for a certain vibe with the guys, and it was there. And you're looking for a certain, look on their faces, conversations, and it's there. So I think we're all kind of looking for the same thing, and it's been the same all year.
Shy?
John, do you have a plan for Game 4 starting pitching wise?
Yeah, Max is going to start.
And then you mentioned yesterday about the closeness of the group and the bond and how they enjoy spending time together. When the team finds itself in a situation where you have to claw out of a hole, how might that help this group?
I think that when you have relationships, that are strong and that are genuine and real, it makes it a little bit easier to go out and execute, perform, play for one another. I think that we've done that all year, where we don't really care who gets the recognition, or the guys don't, I should say. Seems to be a different guy almost every night. But I think when you're kind of all playing for the same thing, you're playing for the team, you're not playing for yourself. You're playing for guys you genuinely like and you like to be around. I think it just gives it a little bit more oomph, if you will, to go out there and do it. I couldn't think of a better word than oomph right there, but they want to do it for one another, and that's a genuine thing that doesn't happen very often.
What lessons have you drawn from how you can help replicate this environment and those bonds from being recreated in subsequent years? Like, as you mentioned, you don't see it often, it's unique, it's a bit ephemeral. Like, how can you put that together?
It kind of happens organically, you know what I mean? Not that we're all, we're baseball people as coaches and managers, but I think as baseball people, we're pretty good people, you know what I mean? And you kind of get what is right in this environment, So there's ways to kind of nudge or set up groups to kind of come together, but they got to just do it, you know what I mean? I think it just comes down to the cast of characters that are in there right now in this specific time, and where they are in their careers. It's pretty cool.
Ben, did you have something?
When you guys were up 2-0 against the Yankees, you said you wanted to kind of view it like it was 0-0.
Yeah.
Does that same logic apply here for you guys now that you're down 0-2?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like we get it, right? We get the numbers and the all the historical things that have happened when we're in this position. It's a game tomorrow. It's all we can worry about. That's all we're worrying about. It's you get to game 4 when you get to game 4, and you keep on doing that. So harder to do. Say, yeah, we're treating this as game 1, right? We've obviously lost the first 2, but there's really no other way to go about it.
And just back to Santander, when it comes to his back tightness, is that more when he's swinging or throwing, or kind of both?
No, it was more like running, kind of like running around, changing direction, things like that. So throughout the course of this year, he's obviously gotten really good and deliberate with what he does to take care of his body. So I feel like he's in a good spot, a better spot today, and hopefully kind of back to normal tomorrow.
I think we have Mike in the second row.
John, today's the 10th anniversary of the Jose Bautista bat flip homer. Might have happened like right about now. And that home run, while it's huge in the memory of a lot of Blue Jays fans and the biggest Jays homer in the 21st century, it's also a home run that won a series that the Jays lost the first 2 games of at home. I know you're talking about the only thing that's important is game 3, but do you draw anything from that? I mean, dropping the first 2 at home and then coming back to win that series?
Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible. It's baseball. You never know when there's going to be turns in momentum. You never know when momentum or a series can just shift, or hold. You never really know. So I think that it's a 7-game series for a reason, right? If it's a 1-game play-in, we're on vacation right now, but it's not, So there's certain things that you have to just keep, front and center, and you hope for those moments, those moments that come that kind of click, you know what I mean? But I think there's been enough examples, just talking to Hoff, a team that was up 2 a couple of years ago with Philly, and losing a series. It's very, very possible to do when you have a really, really good team. So hadn't thought about the bat flip per se, but have definitely thought about the instances to where, this is not a hole you cannot climb out of.
We'll finish up in the second row.
beside the obvious of Max as a future Hall of Famer, multiple times Cy Young, what went into you being able to confirm now that he will start Game 4? Was it not using him, or how his bullpen felt, or what was that?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. I think didn't use him, kind of where he is physically, and talking to him compared to where he was a month ago, kind of how their lineup will roll out, how we've used our bullpen, how guys in the bullpen are feeling, and things like that. And the fact, I think you get the best version out of Max when you're, he prepares. I've talked about him preparing all year. So I think keeping things normal for him, going back to, you want to see normalcy. So you trust that he's going to be prepared and go out and give everything he has, and hopefully rise to the occasion of a big moment. You know what I mean? He's a Hall of Famer for a reason. You know what I mean? So it's you feel good about handing him the ball and watching him go to work.
Art Schneider, thanks so much. Appreciate
Thanks, guys.
it.
Appreciate it.
Brian Wu should be here any second. Appreciate it. Who's got the first question for Brian?
Is this like a product placement thing, or should I leave this?
I can go to the first row on your left.
Brian, first question. Obviously you had the live bullpen. Just how are you feeling after that, and how encouraged were you by what you were able to do during that session?
Yeah, the live went great. I think just slowly trying to build over the last couple of weeks. Like I said, do it the right way. Obviously frustrating not being out there, but yeah, everything looks good, feels good so far. So yeah, I'll be ready to go whenever my name gets called.
We'll go right here.
Brian, if this was me, you'd head out on a rehab assignment, get some work in before jumping into things. You don't have that opportunity here. How do you try to build a routine, some sort of a factor to get yourself ready to jump into the middle of a postseason race and be ready to go and be the guy you want to be?
I think it's just taking your reps throughout the week as serious and as game-like as you can. Like you said, usually get the rehab starts to kind of fine-tune things, but you just kind of convince yourself you don't really have a choice. You got to just come out and have everything ready to go. And, if it's not, then you figure it out. But trying to take, the work throughout the week and bullpens and the lives and all that stuff, like I said, I've been trying to take it as game-like as possible so that, there's not as big of a gap getting back into the games. But, yeah, I'm excited. Obviously, just been itching to get back on the field the last couple of weeks and doing what I can to keep the energy up and bring good vibes in the dugout, but it's obviously not the same as being on the field.
Go to the back left corner, Brian.
Brian, you're talking about building back up. So where kind of are you on that path? Is there a percentage in regards to how well you feel? And what, if anything, is the last box or two to check?
I don't know if I have a percentage on it. I just know I'm ready to get in the game, and last box to check is just to get my name called. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I've done, everything that I can the last couple of weeks to handle my business in the training room, in the weight room, on the field, everything that I can control, and kind of put the rest in the hands of the trainers and coaches and whatnot. So luckily we have a great staff that I trust with, with the rest of it, and the rest of it I kind of just have to let go. But yeah, now I'm ready to go.
Go to the second row on your left, Brian.
Brian, you mentioned it's been frustrating not being on the field, but at the same time, these have been, two of the most exhilarating weeks in franchise history. What's it been like balancing those emotions, knowing you want to be out there, but also being able to enjoy all of it?
Yeah, I mean, it makes it a lot easier when you're winning, obviously. It's weird. I was saying you get kind of more antsy and nervous not playing because there's no way to kind of like let those emotions out. But yeah, I mean, you do the best you can. Obviously, nobody wants to get hurt, especially at the timing that it was. And as frustrating as it is, you still have a choice to be the best teammate that you can be. Put the rest of it aside, handle your business before the game. But once it's game time, be the best teammate you can be. Make a choice to make a positive impact on the game somehow, and that's all you really can do.
Right up front.
Obviously, like you mentioned, there is the frustration with the injury being at this part of the year, but how is going through the past injuries you have last year kind of help you understand and just like stay the course in this recovery, not rush yourself or do too much and just kind of like educate your process this time around?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the previous experiences, I guess, help. But I think it all comes down to trusting myself, my routine, and then also just trusting the training staff and knowing that they have my best interest in mind, and then, control what you can control each day, which is just try to get better, get healthier, do what I have to do to, just kind of inch to get back on the field each day. And it's just small steps. You don't try to do anything too big each day. It's just little by little, and trust that when you're ready, then you'll be ready, and your body will tell you.
Second row on your right, Brian.
These are two teams that are well matched as far as an offense that really doesn't strike out a lot, and then a pitching staff that really preaches the importance of getting ahead with that first pitch strike. Having watched some of these battles so far, what are you kind of thinking about or seeing? How excited are you as somebody who really competes in the zone to get out there and do your thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I think most of it just comes from being a competitor and wanting to just play regardless. But it's an exciting time, I think, obviously, for both franchises. Obviously, it's definitely, I wouldn't say uncharted territory for both, but it's been a while, and, it's a unique opportunity. But either way, I think it's just the circumstances of the team, how well both teams have been playing, how much fun it's been to be a part of the journey here in Seattle. So, like I said, doing everything that I can these last couple of weeks to be ready and to be available. I think that's all that you can really do. But yeah, I'm excited to get out there. I've been, you're itching as a competitor to want to contribute in some other way than just kind of being a good vibes guy in the dugout. There's a lot more to it.
Go a couple more. Go back to Angie.
Brian, you said it last year, the education of going through those injuries has kind of helped you a little bit more this year. Is there something still that you are feeling? Because that's always usually the last thing, is just to be able to let it go out there.
No, I mean, at this point in the year, it is what it is. Everybody's hurting. Nobody feels good. So, you just kind of, it helps to have, such a good connection in the clubhouse with all the guys, and the bond that everybody shares, that no matter how you're feeling, good, bad, anywhere in between, that you're playing for the guy next to you, and you know that they're not feeling better, any better than you are. So, I think that's the most important thing, is that bond kind of carries you out, regardless of how you feel.
We'll finish up one row ahead.
Brian, you saw how loud things got here with game 1, 2, 5, the fan base really being rabid. What are you expecting with you guys being up here 2-0? And I guess second part of that would be, how is the team feeling to return to Seattle with kind of being in the driver's seat, being up in this series 2-0?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was big to go in there and get those 2 wins. I'm expecting to come back and, experience as great as these fans have been all year. The last series was so much fun to be a part of and to experience, and you can just tell from the energy and, each pitch, each strikeout from first to the whatever it was 15th or 16th inning that how excited and how supportive this fan base is. But I think everybody knows that we still have a job to do. This series is long from over, so we got to come in and be ready to go tomorrow, and not try to change what we've been doing. I think as great as it is to come back home, don't try to change anything because we're at home or in front of our own fans or whatever it is. Just kind of keep playing the baseball that we've been playing, which has been great, complimentary, simple baseball. And I think that's where we're at.
All right, Brian, great to see you. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
That's a wrap in here. As soon as we have tomorrow's schedule, we will let everybody know.